All right, let's dive right in. Welcome back to today's Explainer. We're embarking on a seriously thrilling journey today to the most terrifying, alien, and just completely unexplored frontier known to humanity. And the crazy thing? It's not way out there in the cosmos. It is right here on Earth, hidden beneath crushing depths and absolute pitch-black darkness. We're going deep into the ocean today to explore the Mariana Trench.
Think about this for a second. Humanity has mapped the entire surface of the moon, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, right? We've mapped the surface of Mars. But our very own oceans? As of recent estimates, we've only managed to map a mere 26.1% of them. It's a pretty staggering reality when you stop and think about it.
Now, before we even hit the deep end, let's talk about the absolute nightmare fuel we already know about just hanging out near the surface. We share these waters with some truly terrifying animals. Take the stonefish, for example. It's brilliantly camouflaged, sure, but it packs venom so deadly that literally just brushing against it can be fatal if you don't get immediate hospital care. Then you've got the viperfish, which has teeth so deeply embedded that once it bites, there's zero escape, none. Or consider the prehistoric sharks of our oceans past, boasting jaws so massive they could swallow small ships whole in a single bite. So, if these monsters exist where we can easily find them, what on earth could possibly be lurking even deeper in that unmapped dark?
Well, to find out, humanity had to literally just start measuring. Back in 1872, the HMS Challenger expedition began this incredibly grueling global mission to measure ocean depths. And remember, they didn't have modern sonar. Their method was insanely tedious, tying weights to ropes and dropping them until they hit the bottom. Fast forward to 1876, between Japan and Australia, and they hit a patch where the rope just kept going. They attached one rope, then another, and another. It felt as if the ocean floor simply didn't exist. Finally, after hours of this, a staggering 11 kilometers of rope touched down. They had just discovered the Mariana Trench, hitting a depth of 10,994 meters in a patch we now call the Challenger Deep.
Now, 10,994 meters is really hard to visualize in your head, so let's put that into perspective. Imagine Mount Everest, the absolute tallest peak on Earth, at 8,848 meters. If you took Everest, dropped it straight into the Challenger Deep, and then stacked two entire Burj Khalifa skyscrapers on top of its peak, you would still be half a kilometer underwater. There is literally nothing on the surface of our planet that even comes close to this massive void.
And because it's so incredibly vast and hostile, it's also incredibly exclusive. Over 7,500 people have successfully climbed Mount Everest, but the Challenger Deep? A mere 27 people in all of human history have made that descent and lived to tell the tale. It is an unbelievably dangerous environment where even the tiniest engineering flaw means instant tragedy. So let's take that journey vertically ourselves today, safely from our screens of course, and see exactly what survives in these extreme zones. We're going to bypass the sunlit, phytoplankton-rich waters near the top, where massive predators like great white and tiger sharks actively hunt, and head straight down. First step on our descent, the epipelagic zone, surface down to 200 meters.
Going deeper into the mesopelagic zone, 200 down to 1,000 meters. We are dropping into the fading twilight zone now. Down here, plant life completely vanishes. To survive the growing darkness, predators like the snipe eel and the daggertooth have evolved these completely bizarre, long bodies with massive, exaggerated eyes. But you might be wondering, how do they actually survive in such a food-scarce environment? Well, they use a clever strategy called vertical migration. These sharp-toothed predators hang out in the safety of the deep, dark waters. But when it's dinner time, they use their agile bodies to dart up to the shallower, food-rich zones to hunt, before quickly retreating right back down to the dark. Plunging even further, the bathypelagic zone, 1,000 to 4,000 meters. Okay, the sunlight is totally gone now. It is pitch black. Because absolutely no light penetrates this far down, nature had to get creative and literally invent its own. This brings us to bioluminescence, which is just an absolutely fascinating adaptation. The darkness down here is illuminated by glowing organisms. Take the famous anglerfish, which rocks a literal glowing antenna on its head. It uses a specific bacterium mixed with a chemical compound called luciferin to produce its own distinct light. In a world of total darkness, this glowing lure acts as an irresistible beacon, drawing curious prey directly into its massive, inescapable jaws. But surviving in the dark isn't just about snagging your next meal. It's about finding a mate. And encounters are so incredibly rare down here that the anglerfish has actually developed one of the most drastic, weirdest mating rituals on Earth. First, the female emits a distinct scent into the water. Next, the
The male tracks it through the dark, finds her, and literally bites into her belly. He then releases a specialized enzyme that permanently fuses their tissues together. That's right, he becomes a lifelong attached partner, sharing her nutrients and providing reproductive liquid exactly when she is ready. Talk about a crazy solution to the isolation of the deep sea.
Moving right along to the abyssal zone, 4,000 to 6,000 meters deep. Down in the abyss, having eyes is honestly just a waste of biological energy. The creatures roaming this zone are entirely blind, relying purely on highly sensitive receptors for sound and smell to navigate and hunt. The physical environment here is unbelievably punishing. We're talking pressure 600 times greater than at the surface. To survive this, creatures like the giant phantom jelly have evolved without any internal skeletons at all. Their bodies are highly flexible and gelatinous, which allows them to just kind of withstand the crushing weight. Plus, because food is so incredibly scarce, they move agonizingly slowly to conserve energy. Some predators here don't even bother moving at all. They just act like motionless, sticky traps, waiting for unlucky prey to bump right into them. And finally, we hit the climax of our descent, the Haddle Zone, plummeting from 6,000 all the way to 10,994 meters. The creatures surviving in this ultimate abyss, they honestly look way less like Earth animals and more like extraterrestrial aliens. In this extreme environment, we find animals like the bear-eye fish and the telescope octopus. Their bodies are entirely transparent. You can literally see their internal organs crystal clear. Our source material describes them as looking almost like loose organs packed in a clear plastic bag just floating through the abyss. It's a stunning, kind of ghostly adaptation to a place completely devoid of light. But here's the thing that truly defines the Mariana Trench. It's the terrifying physical barrier of its depth. Down here, the pressure reaches a mind-numbing 1,086 bars. That is over 1,000 times the atmospheric pressure we feel walking around on land. It's a force so immense, it dictates exactly why this place remains so totally untouched by humans. To really wrap your head around this, when scientists design spacecraft to land on the scorching, highly volatile surface of the planet Venus, they engineer them to withstand 93 bars of pressure. That alone is a monumental, insanely expensive engineering nightmare. Now compare that 93 bars to the 1,086 bars at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. It perfectly explains why deep-sea engineering is so vastly difficult, dangerous, and, frankly, underfunded compared to space exploration. Because of these immense challenges, we get stats like this, 2019 scientific estimate, which suggested that 90% of ocean species remain entirely undiscovered. We've only seen 10%. That leaves this incredibly vast expanse of the ocean where ancient, hidden ecosystems, and maybe even creatures we'd consider monsters, could easily be thriving in the dark, entirely unseen by human eyes. Which brings us to a really chilling realization. With all these bizarre adaptations, the crushing pressures, and thousands of undiscovered species, what do you think is the absolute most terrifying discovery researchers have actually made resting at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench? Is it a massive prehistoric predator? Some deadly new toxin? Nope. It's a plastic bag. A literal, everyday piece of human trash, found resting in the deepest, most remote, and most extreme environment on our entire planet. It isn't some giant monster that poses the ultimate threat down there. It's our own footprint. There's a quote from our source material that just hits incredibly hard. Where humans cannot reach, humans spread garbage is reaching. It is a profound tragedy. We are actively polluting and potentially destroying these ancient, incredibly complex ecosystems before we even have the technology or the funding to fully explore them. The plastic is surviving the crushing pressure just fine, but the delicate, slow-moving life down there, it might not. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If our pollution has already conquered the deepest abyss on Earth before our explorers even could, what does that mean for the survival of that unknown 90%? Are we erasing the greatest mysteries of our own planet before we even get the chance to discover them? It's something we all need to deeply reflect on as we consider our impact on this incredible planet. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.